sketch. All right. Um, okay, I'll skip that and I'll jump right away to number 11. By the way, if you have your book, please go to page okay, page 67. Okay, page 67, and then let's do number 11. Okay, this one. All right. All right. So for number 11, what if we're given this kind of equations now? Obviously, this is not in completed the square format or even in the standard format for quadratic equations. So it's really different, right? But it's still quadratic, okay? But it's written in a different way, all right? Now, how do we find the x and y intercepts? And then we need to sketch the graph, and then we need to find the maximum or minimum point. So that's the question. So we need to show those um, answers, right? So first things first, I'm going to answer letter A. So we're given y is equal to x times x plus 4. All right. So again, how do we get the x-intercepts? So we get the x-intercepts by making y equals 0. So from here, you just change y to become 0. All right, so that's what I did here. So x times x plus 4 equals 0 instead of y. Okay, so that's what happens there. And then what do we need to do next? So equate each factor by 0. So x equals 0. So that's why the first x is 0. And then x plus 4 equals 0. So that's why the second x is negative 4. That's it. Okay, so those are your x-intercepts. So it's way much simpler, right? And then how about for your y-intercepts, guys? Okay, so sorry, y-intercept. There's no s because it only intersects one time, right? So if you're looking for your y-intercept, x is equal to 0 because the point is lying on the x-axis, or sorry, y-axis, right? All right, so if you're looking for the y-intercept, x is equal to 0. So therefore, using the same formula, x becomes 0 and 0, right? And then plus 4. So obviously, this is 0 times 4 is 0. So your y-intercept is at 0. Okay, so we have done the first two questions. So we have found the x and y intercepts. Next is, all right, so since we are graphing this, we are sketching this, we need to know if the graph is happy or sad. All right, the shortcut here, class, is just multiply the two x's. You're given this, right? So just multiply x and x. So your answer is basically x squared. And then therefore, a is positive, right? Since x squared is positive. So that means that your graph is happy. So it's smiling like this, right? So that means that the tip or the turning point is your minimum point. Okay, so minimum point. So to locate the minimum point, now this is important, class. This might be the first time that you're learning this. Now again, the minimum point is exactly in the middle of the curve, right? Of the graph. Right. Listen carefully, guys. So to find for the x-intercept, because this is in another format, right? So we don't have the h and k. So no one will tell us, oh, this is your minimum point. Okay. So there's no h and k. So what do we do? All right. Now, if we observe, okay, let me just go ahead first and show you the graph. All right. So this is already x-intercept. So this is negative 4, and then this is 0, right? And then this is y-intercept. So that's why the curve looks like this. Now, let's observe, class. Now, your minimum point is over here. So I said it's dead center of the graph, right? So that means that the x value, listen carefully, class, so that the x value of your minimum point is between negative 4 and 0. All right? Again, the x value of your minimum point is midpoint of negative 4 and 0. So meaning, to get the x coordinate of your minimum point, you just need to add your x-intercepts and then divide them by 2. And then you'll have, yeah, there you go. So the x-intercept or the x coordinate of your minimum point is at negative 2. Again, just add the 2 x-intercepts, divided them by 2, and then that's it, -2. How can we find the y value of the minimum point? Okay, so to get the y value, it's very simple. You just need to substitute -2 back into this equation. All right. So this is our equation, right? So look here. So x becomes now -2 because our x here on the minimum point is -2. So therefore, y is equal to -4. So there you go. So you have your minimum point here. So it's at -2 comma -4. Okay, so do you guys have any question how to locate the minimum point? All right, so that's it. Okay, and then how do we sketch? Again, we start with the, okay, you can start anywhere here. Okay, you can start with the x-intercepts. Okay, so check, and then the y-intercept is here. So it's still here at 0, so checked. And then how about the graph? It's happy, we know it will be like that. And then the minimum point is at -2 and -4. So -2 and then -4. It's over here, right? Okay, so don't forget to write the coordinates of this one. So -2, -4. All right, and then that's it. That's your graph. Don't forget the equation. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so do you guys have any question? Hmm? Now, the process is long on the first time you're doing it, guys. When you progress on this one, these things will be automatic to you guys. All right. So I'm just trying to show you guys how we sketch and find the different parts of a graph. Okay. So I know if like in the future, whenever you see this, oh, x is at 0 and x is at -4, right? And then y will be what? Y-intercept is at what? Is at 0, because you know if it is this is 0, 0. So you don't have to show all of this in the future, okay? Especially during your IGCSE, because too much work, right? You want to make your work simpler. Okay, so this is just the first time, so that's why I'm showing everything or the whole process first. Okay, so do you guys have any questions for letter A on how to graph this kind of equation? Sec 3? No question so far? All right. So I'll have one more example. Maybe this is my last example for today, and then I'll let you do one or two questions for this one. So I'll go ahead and answer letter B. So as you guys can see, this is basically different from letter A, right? Okay. So let me have letter B. So letter B, we have y is equal to x plus 4 times 3 minus x. So the same, we need to get the x and y intercepts. We need to sketch the graph, and we need to find the coordinates of the maximum or minimum point. Okay, so let's begin. So to find for the intercepts, okay, so x-intercepts first. Again, remember y is equal to 0 for the x-intercepts. So using the equation given, so y becomes 0, right? So x plus 4, 3 minus x equals 0. And then what do we need to do? So equate each factor by 0. So your first x is -4, and then your second x is +3, or simply 3. That's it. Any question, class? All right, so that's it for the x-intercepts. How about for the y-intercept? So for the y-intercept, x is always equal to 0. So using the same equation, put here, so x becomes 0 and 0. And then, of course, when you multiply those, that is equal to 12. So there's your y-intercept. Okay, so again, we need to sketch this. So we need to know how the graph will look like. Is it happy or sad? Okay, so again, the shortcut here, class, is go ahead and multiply x and x. Okay, so when you multiply x and negative x, obviously you will get a negative x squared, making your a negative. That means that your graph is sad. It will look like this, right? So the turning point is your maximum point. Okay, maximum point. So how do we find the maximum point again? So again, the x coordinate of the maximum point is in the middle of the x-intercepts, right? It's in the middle of these two. So just add this two. That's how I got the x-intercept. So negative 4 plus 3 came from here. And then divide them by 2. You'll get negative 1 half or negative zero point 0.5. Right? So that's the x coordinate of your maximum point. How about the y coordinate? So since x is negative zero point 0.5, I'll just substitute zero point 0.5 with the values of x here. So from here, it became this one. So x became negative zero point 0.5. Now this one is obviously positive zero point 0.5 because this is minus x. So minus negative zero point 0.5 makes it plus zero point 0.5. So therefore, your y coordinate for your maximum point is at 12.25. Okay, so therefore your maximum point is at negative zero point 0.5 comma 12.25. So that's it. So we have completed all the parts of the curve or the graph. So we start with the x-intercepts, negative 4, and then positive 3. The y-intercept is at 12 here. Okay, so 12 over here. And then I know that the graph is set, so it will look like this. But where is the maximum point? So the maximum point is at 0.5. This is 0.5 and 12.25. So there you go. So let me write that. So this is negative 0.5 and 12.25. All right, so there you go. So that's your graph. And then don't forget to write the equation. All right, so do you guys have any question? Now, let's see how this thing looks like on Desmos. All right, so again, so let's have y is equal to, is it, I think it's x plus 4, right? X plus 4, and then it is 3 minus x, right? So yeah, our graph is correct. So it looks like that. So let's look at the maximum point. So it's correct. So negative 0.5 and 12.25. And look at your x-intercept. It's at negative 4 and positive 3, right? And then look at your y-intercept. Your y-intercept is at 0, 12, or simply 12. So our coordinates are correct. Let's go. Number 11, letter C. So we're given y is equal to x plus 1 times x minus 7, right? Okay. So again, in this question, you need to answer all questions. Class, this is an IGCSE paper. You need to answer all questions necessary because you won't get the full marks. All right, so it says find the x and y intercepts, sketch, and find the minimum or maximum point. All right, so let's begin with the equation. So we're given y is equal to x plus 1 times x minus 7. All right, so the x-intercepts, again, where y is equal to 0. So therefore, class, using the same equation, so x plus 1 times x minus 7 equals 0. So y becomes 0. And then equate each equation or each expression by 0. So x plus 1 equals 0. So you have negative 1 there. And then your other x is positive or simply 7. So those are your x-intercepts. And then for the y-intercepts, or y-intercept, sorry, y-intercept again, where x is equal to 0, we just substitute 0 to the equation, so x becomes 0. So therefore, um, your y-intercept is negative 7. All right, again, negative 7. This is 1 times negative 7. Okay, and then for your graph, if we're going to sketch this, we need to know if it's happy or sad. Now, the shortcut again, class, is just to multiply right away x and x. So we're going to have x squared, wherein a is positive. So therefore, our graph is happy. So it will look like this. And now, if our graph is happy, that means that the turning point is what you call the minimum point, right? So how do we locate the minimum point? So the minimum point is again the center of the two x-intercepts. So what we need to do there is to add the two x-intercepts, divide them by 2, and then this is the x-coordinate of your minimum point. And then for your y-intercept, sorry, y-intercept, y-coordinate, okay, so using the given equation, we just need to make x equals to 3 from here, from the x coordinate. So once you do that, your x will be, sorry, your y coordinate is equal to negative 16. So therefore, the coordinates of your minimum point is at 3 comma negative 16. So that's it for the important parts that we need to have in order for us to sketch the graph. Okay, so we have answered all the questions. So to sketch the graph, you can start anywhere from here. So negative 1 and 7. So it's here and here. And then your y-intercept is at negative 7 over here. And then you know that your graph is positive, so it will look like this, correct? And then, but before we draw this, we should plot our minimum point. It's at 3 and negative 16. So again, trace the points forming a smooth curve. And that's it. And then don't forget to write the coordinates of the minimum point and then the equation of the curve.